Right now at 6, a court sentences a former Oklahoma teacher for sex crimes against students.
I got another cold start out there, some freeze warnings, frost advisories, but do not worry, it will warm up later today. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, details on a major animal rescue in southwest Missouri where dozens of animals were rescued from a former breeder's facility.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. It is April the 8th, and we're just trucking right along through this month. So I'm gonna drop this out here. I already told you, but because it's Tuesday. We got to get going on the right foot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you lose your khakis in Texas, it means you've lost your pants. But if you lose your khakis in Boston, it means you can't start your car.
All right, we can go home now.
I think
after
right.
That.
I tell you, the internet serves very little purpose for me other than to bring the most silly and ridiculous musings to you folks at home. But really, we got to start your day right.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the morning. And after last week, really, I think we need a good start to the day. We have a great week ahead of us. And that's the other great news as well. But we got to get through this one last cold morning. And it is a bit on the cold side. Let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh, and the skies are clear, and they will remain that way yet again today. We'll have eventually east winds at about 5 to 10, and later today they'll shift out of the south, and that's important because it will impact when we ultimately reach our high temperature today as well. MoDOT camera looks great. Here's the look at those freeze warnings and frost advisories that are in place through 9 o'clock this morning, and if all goes well, hopefully we will not have to worry about any of these for quite some time. All right, on to the future track. We've got, again, those clear skies, and by the afternoon, east winds at 5 to 10. So believe it or not, it's an interesting way with how the wind is going to impact our day. With the east wind, doesn't do much for us. We're going to have the sunny skies. We're actually going to be a degree or two cooler for the first half of the day until the winds shift out of the south by late afternoon, early evening, and then that will allow us to reach our highs a little later than usual because that's when it's going to bring in just enough warm air before sunset to allow us to warm just a wee bit. But these south winds will have a big impact on how we start our Wednesday, especially compared to this. Look at Stockton now, the cold spot up there at 28 degrees. And so very cold start for some. We got low, mid, and upper 30s otherwise. So kids getting on the bus. Chilly, cold, 33, east winds around 5 to 10. Skies will be clear, same into the afternoon, 62. And again, later today, those winds shift out of the south at about 5 to 10, which will allow us to eventually reach highs about the mid-60s. You see a little later in the day. Now, again, the other part of the wind that helps us is tonight, it's going to get gusty, but it's going to keep that warm air coming in, which means tomorrow morning we're going to be nearly 20 degrees warmer at this time than where we are right now. We're going to talk about that warm weather, how long it lasts, and what we're expecting into the weekend here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a judge sentences a former Miami, Oklahoma teacher and coach for sex crimes involving students. The DA's office says Canyon Cole pleaded guilty to sexual battery and 3 counts of soliciting sexual conduct or communication with a minor by use of technology. Now, he gets 90 days in the county jail, a 10-year suspended sentence, and 10 years probation. Cole will also have to register as a sex offender. Miami police say Cole had previously been forced to resign from Sand Springs High School in 2022. Now, according to court documents, authorities investigated Cole for similar behavior during his time at that school. However, Cole applied to Miami Public Schools with a reference letter from the Sand Springs principal stating he would hire him again. Following Cole's arrest, Miami Public Schools released a statement regarding his employment with the district. It says, quote, "It is important to note that this individual came to our district with solid references from their previous school district in Oklahoma. Thorough background checks were done and all laws followed in the hiring process," end quote. You can find much more on this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And we're learning about a high-speed chase from southwest Missouri into Oklahoma that ended with the arrest of a fugitive. The suspect is William Vernemont of Kansas, Oklahoma, a convicted felon with outstanding warrants for felony assault on law enforcement and other crimes. Authorities in McDonald County, Missouri say as they tried to make a traffic stop, Vernemont drove off. They say he drove more than 110 miles per hour on I-49, then exited going the wrong way on an on-ramp. Officers from various agencies joined the manhunt in Delaware County, Oklahoma, where they finally arrested Vernemont. Now, at last report, Vernemont was in the Delaware County Jail. Charges are being submitted to the McDonald County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for the violations that occurred in Missouri. Authorities released details of an animal rescue operation in rural Missouri. The joint rescue operation between law officers in Cedar County and the Humane Society of Missouri's Animal Cruelty Task Force saw the recovery of 51 animals. Now, those were 42 dogs, 2 adult cats, and 7 kittens. After securing a search warrant, the Animal Rescue Task Force arrived at the property for initial emergency care before the animals were moved to a holding facility. A formerly licensed breeder doing business as Whitner Knights operated the facility. An April 22nd court date has been scheduled to determine animal ownership. You can find more details about this story on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Gas Buddy says some gasoline prices in the area have increased over the past week. Now, according to AAA, the statewide average in Missouri is $2.91 per gallon. In Kansas, it's $2.88, and in Oklahoma, it's $2.78. Now, those are all close to some of the lowest prices in our area counties. And April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. In Missouri, the hands-free law requires that Missourians not use cell phones while driving. AAA says over the past 2 years, it's reduced crashes by more than 5% and prevented more than 660 injuries. However, it's not just a problem in Missouri. We spoke with law enforcement in Independence, Kansas, and they say it's always important for drivers to always be aware of their surroundings, no matter where they are.
I've worked accidents as well where somebody's been driving down the road and they reach over to turn the volume up on the radio station and take their eyes off the road for just a split second, and somebody has pulled out in front of them at an intersection, or somebody's crossed that center line, and then they have to make maneuvers or to try to miss that person and stuff, and they end up hurting themselves or somebody else. And so it just takes a split second to get to that point.
Now, Missouri was the 28th state to introduce the complete hands-free legislation. Law enforcement in Kansas enforced a no texting and driving ban. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Weather experts release an early look at the upcoming hurricane season, and forecasters are getting ready for a busy year. Plus, world leaders race to meet President Trump's tariff deadline as stock markets plummet. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Central Park in Carthage, Missouri. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, the U.S. job market did better than expected last month. Now, on Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 228,000 positions were added in March. Now, many economists had forecasted job growth was going to drop to 130,000. Analysts say things could change soon, citing recent economic data that predicts layoffs and overall uncertainty could rise due to recent policy changes by the Trump administration. Now, the unemployment rate did increase 0.1 of a point in March, rising to 4.2%. Well, the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season starts in June, and forecasters are getting ready for a busy year. Hurricane researchers at Colorado State University have released their early outlook. Now, the group suggests an above-average hurricane season with 17 named storms. 9 are expected to become hurricanes and 4 will likely be major hurricanes. The researchers believe atmospheric and oceanic factors will align to create plenty of storm development. However, the forecast is an estimate and not an exact measure. The CEO of Spirit Airlines is stepping down. Now, on Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 228,000 positions were added in March. The airline's board of directors is in the process of finding a replacement. Now, in the meantime, the company says it's creating what it calls an office of the president. A British car maker, Jaguar Land Rover, is pausing shipments to the U.S. for a month over President Trump's tariffs. The Trump administration placed tariffs of 25% on all imported cars. The tariffs went into effect on Thursday. A spokesperson for Jaguar Land Rover called the U.S. an important market. But the automaker says it's enacting the shipment pause in April as it, quote, addresses the new trading terms. According to the company, Jaguar Land Rover has over 200 dealerships in the U.S. Well, world leaders are scrambling to negotiate with President Donald Trump ahead of tomorrow's deadline on sweeping international tariffs. Now, the taxes announced last week have sent U.S. and world stocks tumbling. Naomi Ruckham has the latest on the so-called retaliatory tariffs set to take effect on about 90 countries.
The global trade war is intensifying, with nations desperate for a resolution before Wednesday, when widespread tariffs are set to take effect for dozens of countries.
We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years.
President Donald Trump announced Monday that the U.S. will apply an additional 50% tariff on imports from China if that country moves forward with its plan to impose a retaliatory 34% fee on American products. Several world leaders are ready to come to the table with offers, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who visited the White House Monday. Israel faces a 17% tax.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do.
Vietnam and Zimbabwe have offered to eliminate their tariffs on the U.S. entirely. And the European Union will end tariffs on U.S. cars and industrial goods if the U.S. returns the favor. Still, global markets posted their third day of losses Monday amid looming fears of a recession. The owners of this toy store in New Jersey had to dip into their savings to get ahead of the possible downturn.
It feels right now that small businesses are being abandoned. That's tragic.
Powerful investors and average Americans alike on edge ahead of Wednesday's tariff deadline. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Now, President Trump's newly proposed tariffs on China go into effect. Chinese imports would face a combined 104% tax. Now, that includes the 20% tariffs aimed at getting China to crack down on the trafficking of fentanyl. These taxes would impact everything from toys and cosmetics to iPhones and clothing. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear out there. No clouds in our immediate area. The closest clouds on there are in southwest Nebraska. Got another sunny and warm day, the latest when we come back.
Well, the groom gives his bride a life-changing wedding gift. Irene Snyder has more from Scottsdale, Arizona.
A full circle moment for this couple.
Not just for me, but for you, and definitely for us.
Exchanging vows at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale during the kidney walk and right at home plate. The same time and place Joseph proposed to Jessica last year.
Unforgettable, basically.
How excited are you?
Level 1 to 10, 12.
They have another reason to be excited this year. After waiting 13 years for a kidney, donor Jessica finally found a match.
I cried. It was very emotional and surprised.
Joseph is now not only her new husband, He's also her kidney donor.
I know how long she's been waiting, so I said, you know, why not try to get a test done and see if I am a match? And sure enough, I was. So that was great. I mean, it was a good surprise.
Aside from getting married, the couple also walking in this morning's event to help raise money and awareness for the Kidney Foundation.
This is one of our largest fundraisers, and every dollar that is raised today really goes to providing life-saving transportation rides to dialysis, medication support.
That support is life-saving for so many. Jessica says she's going to be getting the transplant soon, and when she does, it will make a world of difference.
I have a full-time job. I go to dialysis, which is another full-time job. It will free up time and I'll be healthier.
I, Joey, take Jessica.
Yes.
To be my wife.
The best wedding gift is more time with each other.
It means, first off, that I get more time with my wife, as well as being able to do something that she's been waiting for.
It's totally emotional and overwhelming and grateful. Very grateful.
My great honor to present to you for the first time as a married couple, Mr. and Mrs. Placencia.
What a beautiful gift. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, sun's starting to come up out there slowly but surely. We'd have another sunny and warm day ahead of us, and then the winds increase ahead of another temperature increase, the latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, just turning 6:23 on this Tuesday morning, and we've got a great view of the sunrise from downtown Pittsburgh. Our camera there at 4th and Broadway. It looks very nice, and the skies, as you'll note, are very clear. Same from the Modoc camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, also pointing back to the east right now, and just nice colors in the sky, almost a Bob Ross painting, almost, but not quite. All right, freeze warnings, frost advisories. These continue through 9 o'clock this morning, and as long as all the data holds for the next while, we shouldn't see any more of these for the next while either, which will be fantastic, and I know the plants will be very pleased about that as well, because they're like, it's April, man, what's going on out here? But it is cold to start our day. Maybe warmer. Now, a very interesting thing about that, at least to me it's interesting, maybe not to everybody, but we're actually going to be about a degree or two warmer for our high today than where we were yesterday, but we're going to actually spend a good portion of the day a degree or two cooler than yesterday, and that is because of the wind shift that's going to take place later this afternoon into the early evening. So initially, winds out of the east at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. It won't be until about 4 or 5 o'clock that the winds will shift out of the south. So just before we get close to sunset, we'll get that warm air working in, which will be just enough to bump our high a degree or two warmer than where we were yesterday. The winds increase, though, overnight, and as they do so, look at these temperatures tomorrow morning. About 24 hours or less from now, we will be nearly 20 degrees warmer than where we are right now, which will be very nice. We'll have clouds, a couple of them after midnight, increasing towards sunrise. So we're looking at partly cloudy skies throughout the day on Wednesday. The gusty winds will stick with us, though, out of the south, pushing almost 30, but that ushers in considerably warmer air for us, even maybe close to the 80-degree mark for some of our far western counties. We stay partly cloudy heading into our Thursday. We have a weak little wave that passes through. So now we've got these northwest winds by Thursday. All that does at this point is it makes us a little cooler Thursday and Friday, but as you can see, not significantly so. There's that sunrise 7th and Rangeline. That looks amazing. I always love these views in the morning, but this every morning looks great out there. 34. The wind's now calm, so no wind chill, which is fantastic, and even the one we had was not major. Temperatures around the region. See that darker blue? It's why we have those freeze warnings here, because it got a little colder. We have frost advisories here, where it's a hint warmer and nothing in Kansas. All of us, with the exception of Stockton, in the low, mid, and upper 30s. Stockton, though, you are the cold spot at 29. It'll be about 36 to start our day. Then we'll make it to about 50 by 11 o'clock this morning. Sunny skies across the area. That continues into the afternoon. Again, late this afternoon, say around 4 or 5 o'clock, winds will shift out of the south, and that will eventually allow us to reach those highs about the mid-60s right about here, about 6, 7. Then with the winds increasing out of the south. Temperatures do not fall as quickly. Upper 40s, low 50s tonight. South winds gusting to 25 with mostly clear skies. Partly cloudy through Thursday. Mid 70s, low 70s, upper 60s through Friday. As we head into the weekend, take a look. Yeah, it's going to be windy again on Sunday, but those temperatures upper 70s and low 80s. And we'll hold on to the 70s through next week with a few more rain chances possible by next Wednesday and Thursday. That is a check of your forecast. Now here's Elise with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a new study raises red flags about AI's role in healthcare. Researchers at Mount Sinai found artificial intelligence bots treating patients with the exact same symptoms gave different treatment advice based on the person's demographics and socioeconomic background. Now, wealthier patients were steered toward diagnostic procedures in cases where poorer patients were told they didn't need more testing. AI is trained using information from people, so experts say it's vulnerable to the same biases. Well, 2/3 of minors in the U.S. live in areas with abortion restrictions. A study by Rutgers finds 7 million girls aged 13 to 17 live in states with abortion bans, limits, or parental involvement requirements. Doctors caution that could lead to more young people seeking care outside their home state. And letting your mind wander can actually be a good thing. A study by the Society for Neuroscience found when people performed simple tasks, letting their mind wander didn't hurt their performance in some cases. They actually performed better. But researchers say more complex tasks require a more focused mind. And that's a look at Health Watch. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, an exhibit in Parsons, Kansas hopes to show that art knows no age.
And got a beautiful sunrise out there on what is another cold start for us. However, this is our last cold start for a while. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Fluster art teachers learn to bring history to life with the help of a boost from the Library of Congress.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. It is April the 7th, and it is cold this morning.
It's cold but beautiful out there.
It certainly looks nice. It's one of those things, it happens a lot, of course, in the winter. Where
right.
If you're sitting inside where it's warm, you got the curtains open, you can see the beauty outside without having to experience the cold.
It's one of those mornings.
Yeah, it certainly is one of those mornings, but I have some great news. But less than 24 hours from now, we're going to be almost 20 degrees warmer. To start the day. So it'll still be chilly, yes, but it won't be cold. Won't be cold at all. Let's take a look at that beautiful sunrise for you. That way, maybe today is your day off. Not everybody works Monday through Friday. Maybe today's your day off, and you can just sit there and look out your TV. You don't even have to go to the window. We'll bring the window to you, okay? We can't leave it here all morning, but it looks fantastic. We got that sunrise out there. It's really cold. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. Another great view of that sunrise. Of course, it's pointing back to the east there. Just looking phenomenal this morning. This, again, I do like blue. Blue is a great color for me. It's just, unfortunately, in this case, these blues are not pleasant things. The light blue here, this is a freeze warning. These are frost advisories, all continuing through 9 o'clock this morning. And then hopefully for a while, we won't see any of these pop back up. On to the future track we go. East winds today about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We'll have those sunny skies. And again, today, I mentioned it, it's an interesting thing from the weather side because we're actually going to spend the majority of the day about a degree or two cooler than yesterday. So we won't notice, but just, for record-keeping purposes, we won't actually hit our highs until late in the day because it won't be until about 4 or 5 o'clock that the winds will shift out of the south and bring in some warmer air. But then that south wind increases overnight and will help us stay a lot warmer tonight. Well, better than where we have been. All right, 29 in Stockton, still the cold spot up there. The majority of us, though, still hanging out low, mid, and upper 30s. So that means kids getting on the bus. There's going to be another cold one for them. It's always, that's the thing you don't like about this stuff because the sunshine's going to feel really warm, even when we're just in the 60s. So, do you dress them really warm or how do you do that? It's tough sometimes. About 33 this morning. East winds 5 to 10. Again, later this afternoon, the winds will shift out of the south. Be about 62 when the bus brings them home. And eventually, by about 6 o'clock or so, we should reach our highs right around the mid-60s. As I mentioned, the winds increase tonight and into tomorrow. It does bring in much warmer air for us as well. We'll go over those details and take a look at that weekend forecast for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, Library of Congress education specialists visited Girard to show educators how they can access digitized collections from the National Library to enhance their teaching curriculums. The professional learning program is called Teaching with Primary Sources. Now, its goal is to work with rural communities and explore the use of primary sources from the National Library's collection. The Library of Congress specialists hope teachers will take what they learned and bring it back to their classrooms.
It really helps me in the sense of helping the students with getting primary resources in the forms of pictures for junior high kids to help them realize, hey, that was what was happening in Kansas during that time or during the wars.
Now today there will be another session that's open to the public. The Library of Congress will have future events in other cities. The next city they're going to is Hutchinson, Kansas on April 10th. And there's no age limit for creativity. That's the idea behind the Art is Ageless exhibit at a senior living facility in Parsons, Kansas. Now it's a competition done all across the country in Presbyterian manners, just like this one in Parsons, intended for people age 65 and older. Program organizers hope to showcase that your age doesn't stop you from being an artist.
Even though a body gets old and feeble, they're not useless. You know, if we wake up every morning, that's a blessing. And we thank the good Lord for another day and try to make the most of that day.
Now, this exhibit will be open to the public through this Wednesday. It can be viewed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And parents and young children celebrated Music Monday yesterday evening at Pittsburgh High School. Families learned tips from Cooper Neal, the music director at USD 250, on how to introduce music at an early age before enjoying a kid-friendly concert by PHS band members.
We want to get parents involved in allowing for their kids to listen to music in a safe and comfortable environment. So one of the things that we're doing is we're allowing them to make however much noise that they want to make in this environment and to freely express themselves as well.
Well, the event wrapped up, leaving participants with plenty of tunes and smiles. McDonald County Schools is putting employee wellness front and center with a special Wellness Day event yesterday at the high school in Anderson. Now, from health screenings to self-care activities like spa stations, art, and healthy snacks, staff are getting the chance to recharge and refocus. The district partnered with Freeman and Mercy Health Systems to offer free screenings, including blood pressure checks and skin cancer exams. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Well, home listings soar to 28.5% as the spring housing market starts to heat up. And we have a warmer and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Central Park in Carthage, Missouri. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, there's a shortage brewing in the hottest tea trend on the market. Matcha, the bright green powder used to make drinks and food, is in short supply. Now, the 24% tariff on all Japanese imports set to go into effect tomorrow is expected to make matcha even more expensive. Jared Hill has a look at how companies are coping and the message they have for consumers hopping on the matcha trend.
For Sylvia Mella,
it takes 2 minutes to make a matcha.
Making matcha is like meditation.
That's a really relaxing and it's a real break for me.
But the owner of New York-based Serate Tea House, like the rest of the tea drinking world, is bracing for a shortage in the bright green tea powder. A viral thirst for drinks and snacks infused with matcha powder and shared across social media is driving up demand.
The color, it's a very bright green color, very beautiful color. Matcha became a huge trend.
We're in uncharted territory.
Importer Taylor Cowan says his Chicago company Spirit Tea noticed the shortage late last year. The problem? The young, soft tencha leaves used to make matcha are only plucked in the first few days of the spring harvest season. There are only so many farmers, and it takes an hour to dry and grind leaves to make enough powder for a container this small.
Japan is absolutely at its critical mass in terms of matcha that can be produced.
The Japanese government is trying to increase production to meet the growing demand, but Cowan has other reservations about popular consumption.
It has so many different facets which we're losing in the sort of fast, convenient, crosses the counter under 12 ounces of milk context.
The matcha latte is the most popular drink here at Mella's shop. She's urging customers to drink the highest grade matcha the traditional way, with just water, trying to educate with every cup.
The process of making it is still traditional.
You're kind of getting people to leave with not just the matcha, but a little bit of knowledge about the process.
Helping 1,000-year-old tradition survive social media success. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Well, President Trump says China has until noon today to drop its 34% retaliatory tariffs. If they fail to do so, they risk another 50% import tax from the U.S. Trump's global trade war has led to volatility in markets around the world. And if you're looking to buy a home this spring, Realtor.com finds that the number of homes on the market is up from a year ago, surging 28.5% last month. Listings jumped between 44% and 68% in large metro areas, including Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C. And with Easter less than 2 weeks away, Instacart has published its latest Easter report, revealing the most popular sweet treats customers ordered for celebrations last year. Reese's took the top 2 spots with its peanut butter eggs and cups. In third place, Cadbury's chocolate mini eggs. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
I don't know exactly how the Cadbury eggs could be not in first place, like they are the semblance of Easter. And of course, how many of you had Easter candy? You get a bunch of Easter candy, right? And how much of it just sits there in your house months, years, until that Easter bunny does not look so good anymore? It happens. It does happen. All right, not happening right now is warm weather, but it will happen later today. Pretty cold start, but a nice sunrise downtown Pittsburgh. Same from the MODI camera, 20th and range line. Freeze warnings, frost advisories. These will continue through 9 a.m. And then all things going well, we shouldn't see any of these for quite some time. We'll have east winds today, about 5 to 10. It won't be until late this afternoon, early evening, that the winds will begin to shift out of the south. As they do so, it will actually allow us to reach our highs a little later in the day, say around 5, 6 o'clock. Then the sun will go down, the winds will increase, and our overnight lows, so we head into tomorrow morning, about 20 degrees warmer than this. About, okay, not exactly. But I got 29 in Stockton, still the cold spot this morning. Everybody else, low, mid, upper 30s out there with a calm wind. We'll have those east winds, 5 to 10, kids getting on the bus, about 33, clear skies, and when the bus brings them home, the sunshine continues. Temperatures a bit warmer, 62, south wind around 5 to 10. Again, eventually a little later in the afternoon. Winds will increase overnight. Again, that's what will help us be warmer tonight. We'll also be breezy tomorrow and even warmer. We'll go over those details with you here in just a moment. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, award-winning actor Idina Menzel. She's got a Tony and more. Joins us to talk about her long-awaited return to Broadway. Also, a Grammy Award winner, Maren Morris, will be here to tell us about her new children's book. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for those Tuesday birthdays. We're going to start at Fort Scott with Natalie Murphy, celebrating birthday number 4. Happy birthday.
And a happy 6th birthday to Marjorie Falk in Pittsburgh.
And also in Pittsburgh, Anavir Wenzel celebrating birthday number 7. Happy birthday.
And a happy 26th birthday to Cameron Edwards over in Frontenac. Says here, happy birthday, love mom and family.
And Lindsay Lee Tuba celebrating birthday number 34 today. Happy birthday.
And a happy 64th birthday to Pamela Brown in Pittsburgh. It says here, Wish you a very happy birthday from your boyfriend, Jerry.
And we've got some twins here. Cleo Natalini and Lucille Biancarelli celebrating birthday number 97 together. Now, Cleo lives in Frontenac. Lucille lives in South Radley. So very happy birthday. Imagine celebrating 97 birthdays with your sibling. That's amazing. A very happy birthday to both of you today.
Absolutely. And over in West Mineral, a happy birthday to Kim Likert.
And our list continues with Julia Dooley in Webb City celebrating birthday number 65. Happy birthday.
And a happy birthday to Kelsey Gerster.
All right, another great list of birthdays and anniversaries. And if you would like to celebrate with us, and who wouldn't, Elise has some information for you.
Yes, go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. When you're submitting, be sure to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen and to also include the date of your celebration as well.
Certainly so. You want to make sure you include that information because you want to make sure your celebration occurs. We air it at the right time. All right, here we are. This is a live look downtown Pittsburgh and looking pretty good. Temperatures, of course, as I mentioned, very cold out there this morning, but the skies are clear and they will remain that way. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, a few more cars on the road, folks getting their day underway. And sometimes, you're stuck at work and we look at these cameras and I watch these cars go by and I'm like, man, what is it like to be free? And then it occurs to me, they're probably like the rest of us. They're probably actually working. They're not just driving around because it sounds like a good idea. All right, freeze warnings, frost advisories. These continue once again through 9 o'clock this morning. They're done after that. And looking at the long-range forecast, I don't think we're going to have a chance of seeing anything like that for quite some time. And hopefully not until, like October or something when temperatures begin to drop back a little bit. All right, future track for today. As I mentioned earlier, if you didn't catch it earlier, it's a very interesting day because I was updating all the graphics and things for the morning. Believe it or not, we're going to spend the majority of the day about a degree or two cooler than yesterday. Not like we're going to be able to tell the difference. It's just looking from an actual, like a temperature standpoint. We're going to be a degree or two cooler, but our highs are going to be a degree or two warmer because what happens is first we have the east breeze at 5 to 10. That doesn't do much for us. It's just an east wind, sunny skies. Then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, winds will begin to turn out of the south. That brings in warmer air just before sunset, and that means between about 6 o'clock this evening, then we'll actually hit our highs for the day before temperatures begin to drop a bit overnight. Now, overnight, two things happen. One, winds increase. Two, clouds gradually increase. Just a few clouds after midnight, partly cloudy to start. Winds tonight gusting out of the south to about 25. They'll pick up a bit tomorrow, gusting about 30 out of the south, but that warm air starts working in late this evening. And look at our temperatures tomorrow morning. We're going to be almost 20 degrees warmer tomorrow morning than where we are right now. Partly cloudy through the day on Wednesday, breezy, and with that gusty south wind pushing in, it brings in warmer temperatures. We're talking mid-70s, maybe even close to 80 for some of our western counties. And then what happens, you see that wind shift line taking place. As we go into our Thursday, we get a little system through. No rain expected, nothing really expected out of it, but it will keep us a little cooler Thursday, but not by much. Thursday morning still starts great. Partly cloudy skies once again, but behind that boundary, we get a northwest breeze, and that'll keep our temperatures again a little cooler. But as you can see, not significantly so as we head into Thursday evening, and it'll stay a little cool on Friday, and then it really warms back up again by this weekend. Here's a look at our temperatures. That sunrise 7th range line looks fantastic, although it is cold. 34 in Joplin. The winds are calm, and across the area, well, as soon as this loads, we'll see. Looks like Stockton, you are still the cold spot at 29. Everyone else, low, mid, upper 30s out there as we get this day underway. Again, the sunrises just look beautiful. We got cameras in great places that can see great sunrises and great sunsets, really. Just fantastic views, so you don't have to worry about going out in the cold to catch it, unless you just really like the cold. All right, 36 to start and around 50 by 11 o'clock this morning with those sunny skies. We're going to have another look at your forecast, plus the news you need to know. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to have a few tips and tricks on how you can grow the perfect garden this spring.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A judge sentences Canyon Cole, a former Miami, Oklahoma teacher and coach, for sex crimes involving students. Cole pleaded guilty to sexual battery and 3 counts of soliciting sexual conduct or communication with a minor by use of technology. He gets 90 days in the county jail, a 10-year suspended sentence, and 10 years probation. Cole will also have to register as a sex offender. In a high-speed chase from southwest Missouri into Oklahoma that ended with the arrest of a fugitive, William Vernemont of Kansas, Oklahoma, led authorities on a high-speed pursuit on I-49 that reached speeds of more than 110 miles per hour. Charges are being submitted to the McDonald County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for the violations that occurred in Missouri. And authorities released details of an animal rescue operation in Cedar County, Missouri. The joint rescue operation between law officers and the Humane Society of Missouri's Animal Cruelty Task Force saw the recovery of 51 animals. A formerly licensed breeder doing business as Whitner Knights operated the facility. An April 22nd court date has been scheduled to determine animal ownership. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door again, it is cold out there, but we'll warm back up. Mid-60s today, sunny skies, winds eventually shifting out of the south 5 to 10. They increase out of the south, gusting to 25. Temperatures decent through the evening and even into the overnight. A couple of clouds after midnight and warmer tonight into the upper 40s and low 50s. Tomorrow, warmer, breezier. Winds will be gusting out of the south up to 30, mid to upper 70s. A little cooler Thursday, Friday, and then back to the upper 70s and even some low 80s heading into the weekend.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making strawberry lemonade cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As your morning news continues on KOM with CBS Mornings, it's been nearly a decade since the great Idina Menzel performed on Broadway. Next on CBS Mornings, the Tony Award-winning actor is live in studio to talk about her monumental return to the Great White Way.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. Now this morning, Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society joins us in the studio to talk about some upcoming events.
And Charlene Patton also in the studio with another incredibly healthy and amazing recipe. However, my box is not in the right spot and I just about walked right off of it. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And if Chris makes it, we'll see you today at noon.